Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles, to the elders, to the bishops. It's true. Your brother Rabbi Nat coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. Get some news, man. Keep it moving. This is Brown University and MIT professor shootings are linked. Suspect found dead, officials say. That's crazy, man. Same person who committed the Brown University shooting shot the MIT professor. So he went on a rampage, man. And it's profound that he actually went all the way from, it ain't that far from Brown University to MIT, but he went to the MIT professor's house, so he has some information. I want to see what this says. The alleged shooter Claudio Manuel Neves Valente was a legal permanent U.S. resident and had been a graduate student at Brown 2 decades ago. Damn. What the fuck happened 2 decades ago? Well, I guess he's dead, so we'll never find out. It says Friday is the deadline to release the Epstein files. Who cares? EU submit backs Ukraine, but divisions are clear. And they're trying to take Vladimir Putin's money so they can use it against him, so they can fight against him in Ukraine. Okay, Shalom, King. How about Shemel Shah Barakatah to Chechen, you know? So, that's not good, man. If you take my money and try to use it up against me, you think I'm gonna be happy about that? I ain't gonna be happy about that, man. See, everyone thinks Putin is fake, man. Like he ain't. I don't know why they keep pushing the bear. Like he's not gonna destroy your ass, man. And that's the time we're getting into, just like the Lord said in Ezekiel the 38th chapter. This is how the Lord's putting hooks into the jaws of these Russians. They ain't gonna have no choice but to fight. So on their end, they're pretty much getting prepared to do America dirty. Let me grab this in the book of Isaiah 13, because this is prophecy being fulfilled. Isaiah 13, verse 17. It says, Babylon will fall to the Medes. And it's going to start with those, with the European nations when Putin comes out more, when he leaves the Donbass area. He's going to be going into Poland. He's going to be going into Germany. He's going to be fucking up that whole European Union. Isaiah 13, verse 17, behold, I'll stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. See, Esau, Edom, the Americans, they like to negotiate. They like to, let me take some tariffs off, let me give you some money, let me help you out here and there, whatever. They're not regarding any of that. They don't want your silver and your gold, which is your money. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. So the fruit of the womb is babies. So he ain't gonna spare that. He say he gonna dash you to pieces. He gonna dash you to pieces with his military capability. He got missiles that he can shoot, and that's how he gonna dash you to pieces. He got drones that blow up in front of you. That's how he's gonna dash you to pieces. Isaiah 13, verse 19. In Babylon, which is America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And how do you overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? With fire and brimstone. So that's the same type of destruction that's coming to this place, because it's Sodom in Egypt. This is the modern day Sodom in Egypt. So this place is going to be destroyed just like Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord's he already manipulated the atoms to bring forth the fire and brimstone, just like he created the waster to destroy, to create that the thermonuclear missile. As a matter of fact, let me grab that. I created the waster to destroy. Isaiah 54, verse 16. Let's grab that. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So he created those German scientists that were able to separate the atom and create what you call today a nuclear bomb. Okay, and that's what's going to be used to destroy America. The Lord already had this capability because he's been sending fire and brimstone since in ancient times. Elijah sent down fire from heaven. He didn't have a scientist create a silo and shoot up missiles. He didn't do that, man. The Lord manipulated whatever he had to manipulate and sent down that fire from heaven when Elijah asked for it. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 20. It shall never be inhabited, that's talking about America, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So this place is never going to be inhabited again from generation to generation. So this is going to be utterly destroyed. It's going to be a beach. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. You go into the Middle East, that's a barren and desolate land. They over there. They trying to build shit over there. They got plans to build that shit up. It's not gonna be like that over here, man. This is gonna be a memorial to show you how not to live, and you nations are it's gonna glorify the Lord when he destroys this place. Isaiah 13 verse 21, for wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. So these doleful creatures, these wild beasts, are desert creatures that are gonna inhabit this place. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So Isaiah is talking about America. This is a prophecy. This hasn't happened. The modern day Babylon is Iraq. So if Iraq isn't like that right now, so it's clearly not talking about Iraq. Even though it's fucked up, it's been bombed multiple times, it's been hit with all types of shit. But people still occupy that. They got a government over there. It's inhabited. This place is not going to be inhabited. All right. And I was just thinking, you keep messing with his money, man. As a matter of fact, let me grab this in the book of Revelation, where it tells you that the bear, man, he's the bear. He's the one that's the scripture called it, he had like wings like a, let me grab it, Revelation 13 and 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. And that leopard's talking about the Greeks, starting with Alexander the Great. And his feet were as the feet of a bear. And this bear represents, well, the feet represent the end of a thing, and the bear represents the Medes. So it's symbolic of how this beast is going to be destroyed by the bear. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the lion represents the British. The British are the lions. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So the dragon is a representation of the Roman Empire, or Esau's power structure. Okay, that's what's going to be destroyed ultimately. All right? This nigga ain't going to have no type of power, man. He going to be down in the pit. He going to be working for Yasharallah, the Princess of Power. Whoever the Lord sets up in the last days to be rulers with him, that's who he's going to be setting up. As a matter of fact, right now, aren't they celebrating, it's Hanukkah, man. It's Hanukkah. I want to grab some scriptures on that because, you know, these are customs that our people are supposed to be celebrating, man. You getting prepared to celebrate Christmas when you should be celebrating. This is around the time when our people were fighting to keep our laws, statutes, and commandments. Right now, the majority of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you got the mindset to go shopping, get a deal. You thinking of, you going shopping on Black Friday. You were looking to get a deal on some shoes or something, man, to give to somebody else. But our forefathers weren't like that, man. They were fighting with sword. They were going around putting Edomites to flight, trying to keep our laws, rededicate the temple. This is the time we're in, man. This is a time of spiritual warfare, of cleansing out your vessel to get back right with the Lord, man. Rededicating the temple, but your mindset is serving Satan. That's what your mindset's on, man. You're just like Mattathias. You put in not Mattathias, but the wicked Israelite who went and put try to put swine on the altar. That's what you're doing. Okay? So this is around that time, and we should be in that same type of mindset. Getting prepared to be in the morning, seeking the Lord, you know, reverencing Him for giving us those victories. That's the type of mindset we got to be in, man. As a matter of fact, let me grab this in the book of, I think it's Matthew, where it tells you, what did he say? He said, 7 spirits. Matthew 12, let me grab that. Matthew chapter 12. Verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. And he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation. So, when you come into the knowledge of the truth, your vessel gets cleaned out because you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. You know the name of the Lord. The Lord's dealing with you. But then, when the Lord take that spirit away, you go back into the world, but you become worse than what you were before. You become worse than before you came into this truth. Okay, and then you get them 7 spirits on you, man, which is a complete number of spirits that can turn you into all types of shit, man. So when you get this word, you gotta hold on to it, man, because if the Lord allows these spirits to get you, you're gonna be out in the world and you're gonna be fucked up, man. You're gonna be out of your mind. And there's some crazy ass spirits out here, man. He might have you going to the club, you know, have you talking to a whole damn transformer, man. He'll make you fall in love with a transformer. Or, you know, something bugged out. Something you never thought yourself doing, but because you received this truth and you didn't take heed to it, he'll give you up to those spirits, man. And there's a lot of spirits out here that we gotta be aware of. He'll give you that apostasy spirit, that go get the money spirit. I want to chase my dreams. I want to go travel the world. I want to be a passport bro. We'll put all that shit on you. And then when you actually go do that, he might even give you a disease, man. He might give you over to your flesh, over to your lust, and ultimately get you destroyed. So this is the time we're supposed to be protecting the temple. You're the temple. You're supposed to be protecting it. Refraining from desecrating it like these Edomites did, man. Having that mindset of a damn Edomite. Okay? Where do I want to go? Let's go to 1 Maccabees. 1 Maccabees. 1 Maccabees 12. Let me move over here a little bit. All right, 1 Maccabees, chapter 4 and 1. Then took Gorgias 5,000 footmen. Gorgias is one of Antiochus Epiphanes' generals. And 1,000 of the best horsemen, and removed out of the camp by night, to the end he might rush in upon the camp of the Jews and smite them suddenly, and the men of the fortress were his guides. So he wanted to go fight up against the Jews in Israel. Okay, these are Edomites. Okay, physically fighting, not a spiritual demon, man. They coming to fight who? The Jews, the Israelites. Now when Judas heard thereof, he himself removed, and the valiant men with him, that he might smite the king's army, which was at Emmaus. So he was smart, man. He was using strategy when it came to dealing with the Edomites. But see, during this time, they were physically battling. We were physically battling with Esau, Edom. We were physically, when we saw each other, we were stabbing each other. We were putting arrows in each other, chopping each other's heads off, man, when we saw one another. 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 4. While as yet the forces were dispersed from the camp, in the mean season came Gorgias by night into the camp of Judas, and when he found no man there, he sought them in the mountains, for said he, these fellows flee from us. So that's Judas leaving the camp. So that's strategy, man. Esau went in the camp and didn't see anybody in there. He tried to sneak up on us at night, and we weren't there because we were prepared for battle, okay? And that's how we are in this time. We know this nigga's coming. So what are we doing? We're applying Micah 2 and 10. We're arising, we're departing, because we understand this is not our rest. Because this is a spiritual battle. This is not military advice for you reprobates out there. This is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 6. It says, but as soon as it was day, Judas showed himself in the plain with 3,000 men, who nevertheless had neither armor nor swords to their minds. Let me see what this means. 1 Maccabees 4, verse 6. What you mean they didn't have swords to their minds? What does 1 Maccabees 4, verse 6 mean? What does that mean? It says 1 Maccabees 4, verse 6 describes the dire situation of Judas Maccabeus' army at the Battle of Emmaus, highlighting their material disadvantage against the well-equipped enemy forces. Verse from King, whatever. The meaning of the verse is best understood in the context of the verses immediately following it. Okay, so I guess that means keep reading. 1 Maccabees 4, verse 7. And they saw the camp of the heathen, and this is talking about Edomites, heathen, okay? That it was strong and well harnessed and compassed round about with horsemen, and these were expert of war. So that's the Edomites. They were experts of war. They had all the military capability. We can see that today. That same type of, that's their blessing. They have that same type of capability today. We don't have no swords to our minds right now, but yet we're mighty through the Spirit. As a matter of fact, let me grab this in the book of 2 Maccabees. 2 Maccabees. I think it's 8. Yeah, 2 Maccabees chapter 8, verse 18. For they said he trusts in their weapons and boldness. So these Edomites, they trust in their weapons and their boldness. But our confidence is in the Almighty God. So that's what our faith is in. Our faith is in the Almighty God. His confidence is in his guns. Okay? Who at a beck can cast down both them that came against us. Salakia. Who at a beck can cast down both them that come against us and also all the world. So the Lord can cast down those who come against us, and he said all the world. So we're mightier than the whole world, man, because we got the Lord defending us. Okay, as a matter of fact, let me keep going. 2 Maccabees 8, verse 19. Moreover, he recounted unto them what helps their forefathers had found, and how they were delivered when under Sennacherib 180,000 perished. So 180, 80, 5,000 is 185,000 of the heathen enemy coming up against Judah, the Assyrians being destroyed by an angel. So that's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people that the Lord destroyed for the nation of Israel. And he told them of the battle that they had in Babylon with the Galatians, how they came but 8,000 in all to the business. That's 2 Maccabees 8, verse 20. With 4,000 Macedonians, and that the Macedonians being perplexed, the 8,000 destroyed 120,000 because of the help that they had from heaven, and so received a great booty. So we robbed, we spoiled them. Okay, and that's the Lord giving us the victory. Let me grab this in the book of 1 Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 17. 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse number 47. It says, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with 1 Samuel, this nigga, man. 1 Samuel 17, verse 47. Yeah, 1 Samuel 17, verse 47. I just want to get to the point. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. So this is David talking to the Philistines, man. The battle is the Lord's, and the Lord will give you into our hands. That's what he does. Okay? The Lord gives us the victory. We can't, it's not about sword and how many missiles you got, how many swords, guns you got stored up. It's not about that. Deuteronomy 20, verse 4. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. That's right, to save you, man. He's going to fight for you to give you the victory. And he's done that multiple times in the scriptures. Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. So we're holding our peace. We got to be patient. We got to keep this word. We got to endure it to the end. What's this? 2 Chronicles 29, I believe it is. 2 Chronicles 29. I keep forgetting this precept. I think it's somewhere in the beginning. Let me start here. 2 Chronicles 29, verse 6. For our fathers have trespassed and done that which was evil in the eyes of the Lord our God, and have forsaken him, and have turned away their faces from the habitation of the Lord, and turned their backs. Also they have shut up the doors of the porch, and put out the lamps, and have not burned incense, nor offered burnt offerings in the holy place unto the God of Israel. Wherefore the wrath of the Lord was upon Judah and Jerusalem, and he have delivered them to trouble, to astonishment, and to hissing, as ye see with your eyes. So he gave us over to them. So it's just as well as he can give us the victory, he can give us the L too. And that's why we've been losing the way we've been losing. But now that we got this word, we can continue, we can strengthen ourselves and ultimately watch the Lord work and bring our enemies underneath our feet. 1 Maccabees chapter 4, and verse 8. Then said Judas to the men that were with him, fear ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. So looking at them with no weapons, swords to mind, looking at these Edomites trying to come up against us in Jerusalem. And we still ain't scared. Yeah, we fled, but at the same time, it was the Lord that was going to give us the victory. So having that faith is what, he didn't just run forever. Nah, he ran and he's watching them and he's telling them, he's trying to build up their faith in the Lord. And that's what we're trying to do now, because that's the only way we're going to get through these troubling times. 1 Maccabees 4 and verse 9. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea when Pharaoh pursued them with an army. So imagine a whole army. You didn't have no swords, you didn't have no shields, and the Lord split the Red Sea. So the Lord is going to create a way for you to get out of that situation. 1 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 10. Now therefore let us cry unto heaven, if peradventure the Lord will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our face this day. So the Lord, all the Lord got to do is destroy them. He could take over the whole world. He said he could go against the whole world, man. Having the Lord. 2 Maccabees 8 verse 18. There you go. That's why we're getting right with the Lord today. You know, praying to the Lord that he have mercy upon us when he brings Jacob's trouble. 1 Maccabees chapter 4 and 11. That so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel. There's one. And that's the Holy One of Israel. That's Yahweh. By Hashem Yahushai. Then the strangers lifted up their eyes and saw them coming over against them. Okay, wherefore they went out to the camp to battle, but they that were with Judas sounded their trumpets. And that's what we're doing. Battle getting ready, we sounding the trumpets. So they joined battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain. Howbeit, all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword, for they pursued them unto Garzera, and unto the plains of Idumea, and Azotus, and Jamnia, so that there were slain of them upon a 3,000 men. So we blew the trumpet and we started slaying Edomites. So there you go. And they're gonna be slain again in these last days. The Lord's gonna do all the killing though. But when we get changed, we gonna have spiritual power too. And then there ain't no losing anymore once we get those bodies, man. It's a wrap. Ain't no more going into captivity when you got spiritual power. First Maccabee, that's everlasting salvation. That's the guarantee right there. And if one angel can kill 185,000, what do you think a man of the Lord can do? Come on, man. The elect. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 4. And look at the men who had spiritual power before the last days. Elijah had spiritual power. Elisha had spiritual power. David had some form of spiritual power. You can't win all these. Samson had spiritual power. So it's not that some men ain't gonna have spiritual power. I believe the Lord is gonna endow people with spiritual power. Okay, he tells you in Isaiah, I think 59, in verse 19, he said he'll lift up a standard. So that's talking about, that standard is spiritual power. It said when the enemy come in like a flood, we know that's talking about Esau. We know that's before we get on the chariot. That's spiritual power. So it is what it is. Let me grab this in the book of Leviticus. Verse 6, and I will give peace in the land, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid, and I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land, and ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. So that's part of our blessing. Okay? And that's what Judah was doing. He was going, he was fighting them, he was chasing Idumeans out of Jerusalem. They were running. Ultimately, the Lord was giving them the victory. Let me grab this in Deuteronomy 28, and verse 7. The Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to get the running, man. When they know they can't fight. Right now, you ain't got the power to really stand up against Esau. So you get the running when you see Esau. But now, the Lord's going to give us the power to put our enemies to flight. Let's go back to 1 Maccabees chapter 4. In verse number 16. Then done Judas returned again with his host from pursuing them, and said to the people, be not greedy of the spoil, inasmuch as there is a battle before us. And Gorgias and his hosts are here by us in the mountain, but stand ye now against our enemies and overcome them, and after this ye may boldly take the spoils. So, yeah. Yeah, so you still got to fight Gorgias, man. And he said after the battle you can enjoy the spoils. Okay, but there's a fight first before there's peace. First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 19. And Judas was yet speaking these words, there appeared a part of them looking out of the mountain, who, when they perceived that the Jews had put their host to flight and were burning the tents, for the smoke that was seen declared what was done. Yeah, so the host got destroyed, you burn the tents. That's how you know that's the end of the battle. That's why this tent gonna be burnt up. That's why the Lord's burning this place up. Then you're gonna know what was done when you see the smoke of a burning. Like it tells you in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter. Let me grab that real quick. Let me grab that. Revelation chapter 18. The smoke of her burning. Where's that at? Let me grab it. I think it's Revelation. The smoke of her burning, KJV. Revelation 18 and 18. Revelation 18 and 18, it says, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? So when you see that smoke, you know that's the end of this place, man. This city's gonna be so great like that. First Maccabeus chapter 4 and verse 21, when therefore they perceived these things, they were sore afraid, and seeing also the host of Judas in the plain ready to fight. So there you go. And the Lord gives us the victory. Now Esau, when Esau sees the Lord's dealing with you, he gets sore afraid. He gets scared, man. That's why this word it hurts him. It's scary to hear his destruction, that the truth's coming out. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 22. They fled every one into the land of strangers. Then Judas returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver and blue silk and purple of the sea and great riches. After this, they went home and sung a song of thanksgiving and praised the Lord in heaven, because it is good, because his mercy endureth forever. So the Lord gave the Israelites the victory. All right? And his mercy does endure forever. That's why we worship him. We don't worship no false gods, man, that can't save us, man. We understand that already. Let's lock here. There we go. Don't worship no false gods, man. First Maccabees 4 and 25. Thus Israel had a great deliverance that day. Now all the strangers that had escaped and came and told Lysias what had happened. Now Lysias is Antiochus Epiphanes, I don't know, I think it's another general, but he has to do with Antiochus Epiphanes. So somebody came and told him that they lost the battle against the Jews. Who then he heard thereof was confounded and discouraged, because neither such things as he would were done unto Israel, nor such things as the king commanded him were come to pass. So he wanted, Antiochus Epiphanes sent this military to come destroy Israel, and they didn't succeed. The next year, therefore, following Lysias, gathered together 70,000 choice men of foot, 5,000 horsemen, that he might subdue them. So they came into Idumea and pitched the tents at Bethsura, and Judas met them with 10,000 men. So here it is, you're getting ready to come and get us, and Judas met you where you were at. Judas brought the smoke to you. You know? He came and brought the smoke to Idumea. First Maccabees 4:30, and when he saw that mighty army, he prayed and said, blessed art thou, O Savior of Israel, who didst quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of thy servant David, and gavest the host of strangers into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Saul, and his armor bearer. So here it is, going back to examples in the scriptures to gain the faith that you need to pursue, to endure, to get the victory. He's referencing David and Goliath. He's referencing Jonathan when he went into the camp of the Philistines and won. Okay? That was the Lord gave him the victory. First Maccabees 4, verse 31. Shut up this army in the hand of thy people Israel, and let them be confounded in their power and horsemen. So, yeah, shut them up. We're asking the Lord, we're not doing this with our own might. We're asking the Lord to give us the victory over these damn heathen, man. Trying to make us an offender of a word. See what they did to Puka Nukua, man. You can't even rub your hands. When you rub your hands together, that's anti-Semitic now. So this devil gonna be saying all types of shit, man. We need the Lord to protect us. Standing up stiffly for the name of the Lord, man. Exposing this devil for who he actually is. He's telling his ass is going into slavery, him and all his kids, and they all gonna get burnt alive. We need to be saved from that. We need to be protected. Okay? We need the Lord to defend us in this time. First Maccabees chapter 4. And verse 31. Shut up this army in the hand of thy people Israel, and let them be confounded in their power and horsemen. Make them to be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction. That's right, let them quake at their destruction, man. That's what's coming to them. Destruction. We're going to be doing that same dance in the kingdom, man. When we get the touchdown, the victory. The hell out of here, man. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 33. Cast them down with the sword of them that love thee, and let all those that know thy name praise thee with thanksgiving. And that's what we're doing. Cast them down with the sword. We want to praise in the name of thanksgiving. Praise in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 34. So they joined battle, and there were slain of the host of Lysias about 5,000 men. Even before them were they slain. Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judas's soldiers, and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly, he went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again into Judea. So you already gathered up an army, you lost, and now you want to gather up another army. So now he was double mad. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 36. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up and cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. So why did they have to cleanse it? Because these Edomites defiled it. They defiled the temple. That's what Edomites do. They got control of the temple now. What are they doing? They're defiling it. They're celebrating the Hanukkah, but yet you're hearing what happened. You're hearing the battles that our forefathers fought to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Having Pride Parade Month in the land of Israel is wicked as hell. It's wicked, man. You should be putting these people to death. That's what celebrating Hanukkah is about. Not that you should be, but that's what it's about. But that's not that's the Gentiles. The Gentiles are occupying the land. And what are they doing? They're defiling it. Just like their forefathers were doing in the past. And you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans want to get a deal on Christmas socks and candy and stupid shit like that, man. People are dumb. Have no clue what the hell's going on in this world, man. First Maccabees 4, verse 38. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profaned, and the gates burned up, and the shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest, or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads. And that's what we're doing now. We're repenting, man. We're mourning. Okay? The Lord's house is destroyed, and you want to be here comfortable. You out of your damn mind. You You out of your damn mind. First Maccabees 4, verse 40, and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces and blew an alarm with the trumpets and cried toward heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So here it is. They had to fight with the Idumeans, man. You can imagine what type of shit they were doing in that time too. This time actually makes me think of like those medieval video games where you gotta kill all the demons in that area, and that's kind of like what they did. That's the righteous versus the wicked. And they were mightier, they had more swords, they had more shields, but they didn't have the Lord. That's why they lost. And just like now, they don't got the Lord, we do. There's no way we should be standing. The Lord is with us. He's with brothers, man. He's making sure we stay strong in this thing. So whatever comes upon us, we're gonna take it cheerfully. It is what it is, man. But a lot of y'all are weak. A lot of y'all can't be strengthened through the Spirit, and you're not gonna endure. You're gonna give up. First Maccabees 4 and verse 42. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law. And we got pleasure in the law too. Let me grab this precept, 2 Peter 3 and 11. It says, seeing then all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? That's right. These things are going to be destroyed. What person ought ye to be, man? See, me, I'm in the mindset of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of my ability, practicing the righteous acts, having wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, enduring until the end. That's where my mind's at, patiently waiting on the Lord Yahweh to come deliver his people. I don't believe he's coming to save the whole world. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 43, who cleansed the sanctuary and bare out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profane, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down. So that's why when people talk about the heathen being saved, what are they going to do, just so they can defile the temple? Come on. They ain't going into slavery so they can be around. Get the hell out of here. And defile shit. You out of your mind. Ezra chapter 3 verse 1, and when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. Then stood up Joshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of God of Israel to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God. And they set the altar upon his bases, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries, and they offered burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord, even burnt offerings morning and evening. I was looking for the law where it tells you, because you're not supposed to have huge stone when you're making an altar. You're not supposed to sacrifice swine on the altar. As a matter of fact, if swine touches anything, you got to destroy your, pretty much, if you ever cook swine on your stove, you got to get rid of your whole stove, man. Lord ain't messing with no swine, man. They got a purpose. Its purpose not to be sacrificed in the temple. And that's what these Edomites be doing, man. And that's what you be putting in your vessel, man. Crazy. First Maccabees 4 and First Maccabees chapter 4. Fucking piece of shit. Edomite, boy. Got a whole way, nigga, almost, I don't know, just forget it. First Maccabees chapter 4. Where am I? Verse 45, they thought it best to pull it down lest it should be of reproach to them because the heathen had defiled it. Wherefore they pulled it down and laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. So they took down the altar. They're still doing sacrifices over there in Jerusalem. So they don't accept Yahushua. They don't need to be saved, right? They think they can do it according to the law. Okay. But it tells you those who break the law, you offend the whole law. So they're just condemned, man. You just fully cursed. You just fully cursed. First Maccabees 4 and verse 47. Then they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former. So they took whole stones. They didn't hew them. Okay, which is according to the law of Moses, just like Ezra was talking about. Let's see if I can find that precept. What's the law in Deuteronomy where it tells you to take whole stones and not to hew stones when you're making an altar? What's the law in Deuteronomy where it tells you not to hew the stones when you're making an altar? Deuteronomy 27. Oh, Exodus 20 and 25. Let me see that. I think that's what I'm looking for. Exodus 20 and verse 25. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. So there you go. So you're not supposed to make an altar, chop the stones in a certain way to make it look nice. That's a polluted altar. It needs to be made of whole stones. And that's Israel keeping the law to the best of their ability right there, man. Well, keeping the law perfectly, as a matter of fact, because they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do in that situation. First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 48, it made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple and hollowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick and the altar of burnt offerings and of incense and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called month of Kalsu, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. So they're celebrating their victory over our enemies, just like we celebrated the victory when in Exodus the 15th chapter when we were saved from Pharaoh. That's another victory. We should be celebrating these things. Okay. It'd be ideal to celebrate it with song and dance and all of that. You know, with other believers. But now, you know, recognizing it is just as important. Having that understanding that was us. Okay? First Maccabees chapter 4 in verse 53, and offered sacrifice according to the law upon a new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. I believe those are just different types of instruments. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. And that's what happened. The Lord is the one giving us that good success. Okay? And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. Okay, so that's what he did. You celebrate for 8 days, and that's what we do today. That's what they're celebrating today. That's what I'm celebrating. Okay, we're celebrating the victory, man. So the 8 days is supposed to remind us of the battles that the Lord gave us victory over, to rededicate the temple, man. All right. 1 Maccabeus chapter 4. And we're not doing sacrifices anymore, man. That's a wrap. Best sacrifice you could do is make your body a living sacrifice, and by being obedient. There's no temple you're not supposed to make an altar and burn animals that you killed and offer it up to your God, man. The Lord is not accepting that, man. Read the book of Hebrews if you don't know what I'm talking about. All right? But they're probably doing this in the land. But that whole land's defiled. The people are defiled. That whole place is defiled. It needs to be destroyed. It needs to be destroyed, man. It's corrupt. The Lord's not going to give the nation of Israel that land, man. He's going to destroy it, and then he's going to cleanse it. Just like he cleansed and rededicated the temple, he's going to do that with the land. He's going to do that with the land. 1 Maccabees chapter 4, in verse 56. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness to sacrifice the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields, and the gates and the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. That's right, the reproach of the heathen was put away, and we can't wait for the reproach of the heathen to be put away again. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month of Caslu, with mirth and gladness. So we should be with mirth and gladness now. You know? But giving praise to the Lord, man, for giving us this victory. Now let me look at this month, Caslu. What month is Caslu? The 9th month of the Jewish calendar, corresponding to December. So this is around the time. Now I don't know, because he changed seasons and times. So you don't know what to fuck to believe anymore. You know? You don't know what to, he changed times and seasons. So, but if you decide to celebrate it today, it's all practice, man. It's all practice. But, at the end of it, you should at least know the truth about Hanukkah, man. Truth is really the southern kingdom that was fighting the tribe of Judah. Mostly the Levites. Judas Maccabees, they were priests. They were Levites. Okay, putting the hammer on Edom. Putting the hammer on their ass, man. All right, but ultimately it was because the Lord was dealing with Levi at that point. Levi was still keeping the law statutes. They were valiant for the Lord, man. Which are you so-called Haitians? Okay. Now, it wasn't just Levi. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and some of the other kingdoms too. But majority is just the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom was over here in America at that time. So Caslu corresponds to December according to the Jewish calendar. It's definitely around this time though. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 57. They decked also the fort. I read that. Verse 59. It's like in verse 60. At that time also they builded up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before. So never trust thine enemy. They ain't gonna trust this nigga this time. Now they building up their defense. And that's what we're doing, man. You should be building up your defense against this nigga, man. Don't let them wow you with smiles, with money. That's how your defense get overthrown. That's how you don't endure to the end. You gotta arise ye and depart. It's not your rest, man. You wanna be comfortable all the time, man. You probably ain't gonna make it. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 61. It says, and they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Beth Sura to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea. And we gotta have that defense now against Idumea. Okay, these damn Edomites, man. You gotta have that same defense. What time is it? Let me go, keep going. Second Maccabees chapter 10, verse 1. Now Maccabeus and his company, the Lord giving them, recovered the temple and the city, but the altars which the heathen had built in the open street, and also the chapels they pulled down, and having cleansed the temple, they made another altar, and striking stones, they took fire out of them and offered a sacrifice after 2 years, and set forth incense and lights and showbread. When that was done, they fell flat down and besought the Lord that they might come no more into such troubles. But if they sinned any more against him, that he himself would chasten them with mercy, and that they might not be delivered unto the blasphemous and barbarous nations. Talking about your Edomites. Well, clearly, we went back into sinning, and now we're under these same type of nations. We're under the Idumeans today. So, what we hope that this prayer still applies, because prophecy had to be fulfilled. That during this time of trouble, he'll have mercy upon us, because that's when we're really going to need the mercy, man. Second Maccabees chapter 10, verse 5. Now upon the same day that the strangers profaned the temple, and on the very same day it was cleansed again, even the 25th day of the same month, which is Caslu. And they kept the 8 days with gladness, as in the Feast of the Tabernacles, remembering that not long before they had held the Feast of the Tabernacles, when as they wandered in the mountains and dens like beasts. Therefore they bare branches, and fair bows and palms also, and sang songs unto him that had given them good success in cleansing this place, his place. They ordained also by a common statute and decree that every year those days should be kept of the whole nation of the Jews. And this was the end of Antiochus, called Epiphanes. Now will we declare the acts of Antiochus Eupator, who was the son of this wicked man, gathering briefly the calamities of the war. So I'm not going to go into all of that, but Esau ended up getting put to death, man, in a horrific way, and he was trying to repent. He was trying to, but the Lord ain't the Lord ain't give him that, man. He killed his ass. This is Deuteronomy 12, verse 3. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place. And that's what they did. okay, in order to cleanse the temple and rededicate it. But I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this was edifying. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah, Kodash, Shalom.